The modern things that we enjoy in our modern life were actually invented a long time ago, and many surprising Muslim inventions have actually shaped the world that we live in. 1001 Inventions is a book that celebrates the forgotten history of 1,000 years of Muslim heritage and focused on the origins of fundamental ideas and objects which form the basis of many things today. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here on FTD Facts. My name is Leroy Kenton and I'm pretty excited to share this one with you. We're going to be looking at 10 inventions that you never knew were invented by Muslims. Maybe some of them you did, maybe some of them you didn't. Either way, hope you stick around until the end. We're counting down from 10 all the way to number 1. All right, starting with number 10, we have hospitals. Hospitals as we know them today with wards and teaching centers date back to the 9th century Egypt. The Ahmad ibn Tulun Hospital, established in Cairo in 872, was the first of its kind. Tulun Hospital provided free care for anyone in need, following the Muslim tradition of caring for the sick. The facility served those who were mentally ill as well as those who had general illnesses. Such hospitals continued to spread throughout the Muslim world, beginning in Cairo, Egypt. At number 9, we have the toothbrush. Muslim inventions are not limited to scientific knowledge and technology. They touch on almost every aspect of personal life also. And Islam is a religion that focuses a lot on personal hygiene. And it's said that the first ever toothbrush was used by the Muslim prophet Muhammad. He cleaned his teeth and freshened his breath with a twig from the miswak tree, and miswak-like substances are used in modern-day toothpaste. Now, science has actually confirmed and proven that miswak is exceptionally good for the gums and it helps to keep them healthy, as well as many tubes of toothpaste have miswak in them today. In at the number 8 spot, we have the crankshaft. Many of the fundamentals of modern automatics, such as the revolutionary crank connecting rod system, were developed over in the Muslim world. The crank facilitates the lifting of heavy objects by converting rotary motion to linear motion. The Muslim engineer ALGEBRA, he created the critical invention of the crankshaft, which of course this was very central to the automobile engine. This technology was discovered by him in the 12th century and it spread all over the world and was used in everything from the bicycle to the internal combustion engine. For number 7, we have modern music, and this is pretty interesting because I know what some of you may be thinking. Yeah, even I thought it too, because you hear that Muslims, well, they contributed so much to modern music, but weren't Muslims prohibited from listening to music? So what's really going on here? So let me clarify. According to Muslim scholars, actually, Muslim musicians have had a profound impact on Europe since Charlemagne attempted to compete with the music of Baghdad and Cordoba. And now the lute and the rahab, which are ancestor instruments of the violin, are two of many instruments that came to Europe via the Middle East. The Arabic alphabet also is said to have influenced modern musical scales. So music in itself isn't forbidden by Islam, it's just certain types of music. From there, let's move on to number 6, eye examination. Many of the most significant advances in optics research have come from the Muslim world. Ibn al-Haytham, he demonstrated around the year 1000 that humans see objects by light reflecting off of them and entering the eye. And this completely refuted the claims of Euclid and Ptolemy's theory that light was actually emitted from the eye itself. The camera obscura phenomenon, which explains how the eyes see images upright due to the connection between the optic nerve and the brain, was also discovered by this great Muslim physicist. And actually, this was something that led to the modern day cameras. The invention coming in at number 5 is algebra. The term algebra is actually derived from the title of a famous 9th century Persian mathematician's treatise, the Kitab al-Jabr, which translates to the Book of Reasoning and Balancing. The new algebraic order, based on the roots of the Greek and Hindu systems, served as a unifying system for rational numbers, irrational numbers, as well as geometrical magnitudes. Muhammad al-Khwarizmi, he's a mathematician that was also the first to introduce the concept of raising a number to a power. Number 4 leads us to universities. In the year 859, a young princess named Fatima al-Firhi established the first university in Fez, Morocco. Now her sister Miriam established an adjacent mosque, and the complex became known as the Al-Qarawiyyin Mosque and University. Now this center is still in operation today, so over 1200 years later, and it serves as a reminder that learning is at the heart of Islamic tradition, and the story of the Al-Fihri sisters inspire young Muslim women around the world today. And at number 3, airplanes. Back in time, it was impossible to even imagine that there would be a vehicle in the sky that's flying, but hey, if we look up in the sky today, we see them everywhere. And back in 9th century, Abbas ibn Firnas, he was the first person to make a real attempt at making a machine that could actually fly. The machine that he designed resembled a bird costume, and it had wings, and Firnas, he was able to actually fly upward for a few moments in his famous trial near Cordoba, Spain, before falling to the ground and injuring his back in the fall. His design, of course, inspired the Italian artist and inventor Leonardo da Vinci hundreds of years later, and it is commonly said that the Wright brothers were the first to invent an aeroplane, which is accurate for sure, as they were able to sustain flight for a long period of time. But the concept was actually practiced by Abbas ibn Firnas years before. Number 2 leads us to coffee. Coffee, yes, apparently this is also something that first was made by Muslims. It is said that back in the 9th century, coffee was first used and brewed in Yemen. Coffee initially helped the Sufi Muslims stay awake during late nights of devotion. And the coffee craze, as we know it, it just spread throughout the empire after being brought to Cairo by a group of students. Now, it had reached Turkey by the 13th century, but it wasn't until the 16th century that the beans began to boil in Europe for coffee, brought to Italy by a Venetian trader. And then now we have coffee pretty much everywhere, and yeah, everybody loves coffee, right? Well, I recently became a avid coffee drinker. Didn't really quite grow up with coffee, but I'm wondering how people functioned without coffee. Alright, with all the jokes aside though, let's end this episode off at number 1, surgery. Around 1,000 years ago, Al-Zawahiri, a doctor, published a 1,500-page illustrated encyclopedia of surgery that was used as a medical reference in Europe for the next 500 years. Among his many inventions was the use of dissolving cat gut to stitch up wounds. However, removing the sutures required a second surgery. He also reportedly performed the first cesarean operation and created the first pair of forceps. So yeah, he contributed significantly to the medical world. On that note, I'd like to end this episode off. This was a look at 10 inventions that you never knew were invented by Muslims. Let me know down below which of these inventions and discoveries did you know came from Muslims. Sound off down below in the comment section. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did and you made it this far, don't forget to leave a big thumbs up. And thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, where we learn something new about religion and culture and our world.